So I wanted to do this call for a couple different reasons. One, I had a lot of people that were asking me specific questions about voice life. And then two is because I wanted to get it recorded. So as compared to me just turning on my camera and going through some of my notes, I figure it might be easier to just get a few of you guys on, whoever was available today, to go over this project. So in terms of the way that I'm going to go through this info, I do want to make sure that I disclaim a couple things. One, I don't want to get into anything in regards to how we have access to this particular investment. We'll leave that for, I mean, you guys all know where this comes from, so I just kind of want to leave that out of the conversation because it's not really relevant. I want to just kind of focus in on this particular opportunity and what I've seen about it. I maybe don't know everything, so I'm certainly not an expert on voice life, but I've been reading up on it a lot, and I feel like I found a lot of really interesting things that I feel like are worth sharing. Number two, I'm not a financial advisor, so and this definitely is not financial advice. I'm not even really going to focus in on this video anyway on how somebody would do it, because if you're here, I'm going to go on the assumption that you already know how you would go about getting involved with this particular investment. Anybody who watches the recording probably already know that. If you don't, you could either reach out to me, or if somebody else shared this video with you, you could certainly reach out to them and they'll tell you how to potentially get involved with this particular investment. So we'll leave that. I think that covers my disclaimers. But there's a couple other disclaimers on their website. But if you guys have questions and you want to come off mute, you can certainly do that. So a little bit just on voice life, and I did go over some of this on the Wednesday call, but I didn't show this stuff. I went into it with the whiteboard and sort of explaining things. But I did want to go through some of this stuff. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to read through some of this. It's a self-generating energy system. So this is the main focus of the patents, the way I understand them. Wireless, limitless, sustainable, and self-generating energy system that provides a secure, clean, and continuous power supply to smartphones and other mobile electronic devices. So I'm going to go into this. This just takes you down here. So we'll just kind of go through this. This isn't really a video. It's just like a flash thing that comes up. We have patented a continuous wireless power energy transceiver, which will ultimately convert ambient terahertz waves into storable energy. This technology will revolutionize the way we currently charge our smartphones and other mobile devices. So this is what I was talking about on Wednesday when I really focused in on getting a better understanding of what they're creating. And I don't think they set out to create the battery or the energy. I don't think that was where it started, but I think it sort of evolved into that, if I understand all this right. And they ended up figuring out a way to solve a problem that they were running into. But then when you magnify that problem, this is something that every single person has an issue with. I'm actually, it's funny, as we do this, and I'll turn off my, I'll put it on airplane mode, but I look at my phone and my battery is almost down to 0 on my iPhone. And essentially what they've done is they've created a way to be able to, it's not necessarily that it doesn't need a charge, but you're using blockchain technology to charge the phone using this patented little, it's almost like a little sticker that goes on the back of the phone. So I think this plays, so this shows what it looks like. It's actually kind of cool. I think it probably would go right under a phone case. And I think they actually have phone cases, just reading through their stuff. That's one of the applications that they have is a phone case. So the use cases, smartphones, built on patented technology, voice life wireless power transceiver, not only keeps smartphones continuously charged without wires or plugs, but it also allows your designers more freedom and space to innovate and optimize consumer-friendly features. Wearables. We talked about automotive. Now, I talked about automotive in terms of the battery that charges the car, which I think could be where this ultimately goes. But I don't think they're able to, at this point, draw in enough energy to sustain the car battery yet. That's not necessarily, after I went back and read it, I think what they're saying is the use case would be that you have this technology sort of in the car so that your phones immediately will pick up the charge, or maybe the car is one of the areas that they draw power from. I don't understand that, but I think ultimately long term, I do see the car application being a part of what they're creating. IoT is the Internet of Things. So this is like smart homes, smart cities. This is where I think a lot of the future is going to be. If you remember, we talked last year about a project that was involved with the Internet of Things. And so that was like my first exposure to that philosophy. But IoT, just look that up, Internet of Things. Industrial, medical. So it just kind of goes through some of the different use cases. Our technology enables a secure, clean, continuous, and limitless charge to devices, including but not limited to IoT, low power sensors and mobile devices, smartphones, notebook computers, electric cars, unmanned aerial vehicles, IoT devices, medical devices, wearables, kiosks, and low and high power sensors. The voice life technology ensures your time-sensitive devices are always on and charged, but you can now also eliminate constraints of power cords, charging stations, plugs, and battery capacity. So, like I said, if this is really what they have the patents on, well, not the if, because it is what they have the patents on, then I think the scope of this project could be potentially much bigger than that I originally thought it would be, and I can understand why it was shown to us. Now, I also do think, as I've looked into how they're doing the patents with the IP, intellectual property patents, and how they're potentially setting this up for drawing in money. And how that would be ultimately paid out, which is based off of the sales constituted from those patents. You can see that this has the potential to be a global solution. And if you think about how many people do you know that don't have phones? Do you know anybody that doesn't have a phone? Because I don't really know anybody at this point that doesn't have a phone. I don't actually know that many people who even have home phones anymore. I gave up my home phone years ago, and we all use cell phones. So a lot of people don't have home phones. My mom, she still kept her home phone, but most people gave up their home phones. So everybody is walking around now with these devices. And every single person that I know has a car. I don't know anybody that doesn't have a car. I'm not saying everybody in the world has a car. Of course, there are people that don't have phones and cars, but I think it's very few people that don't have those things. So when you think about the creation of a product that potentially has the ability to have global implications, that's, I believe, what makes this so interesting. And even if, and this is kind of how I was looking at this, because this is such a niche thing for me to hone in on, but I just find this conversation to be fascinating. So if you go to the website, you can look at the white paper that's on the website. This isn't. What was the page I was on? Maybe it's this page. Oh yeah. So here, if you go to tech, wireless power for the 21st century, you can download their white paper. There's nothing here where it says product update, but you can download their white paper and read through all the technical stuff that's on the white paper. It goes through the intellectual property, which I think this is where it really gets interesting. The aim of voice life patents is to ensure the wireless power transfer technology is secured on a global scale. The key distinctive areas that are currently protected by the voice life patents are energy harvesting of ambient terahertz waves, covers far field wireless power delivery to smartphones, Internet of Things devices, mobile electronic devices, autonomous vehicles, and medical devices. Blockchain utilization to authenticate, identify, and verify a unique pairing request for far field wireless power transmission. Advanced transceiver circuitry structure with the following attributes: a two-dimensional graphene material membrane generating freestanding ambient energy. Terahertz antenna array that converts terahertz ambient energy from alternating current AC power signal into direct current energy charge. High energy supercapacitor that stores the harvested energy from the terahertz antenna array and power generate electricity from the 2D graphene membrane. And then here's their patents. If you click on here, it takes you over to here. No, let's see here. Did I lose that page? I might have lost that page. So we'll open that one back up. And this is all of their patents. And so what I was talking about on the call Wednesday, they have U.S. patents and then they have international patents. And the patents are registered. These intellectual property patents, they're 20-year patents, and they registered them as NFTs. And so what that ultimately does is it gives people the opportunity to be a part of this project. So they're not necessarily tokenizing the project, although they are creating their own blockchain. And now, if I understand the question that was asked, one of the creators is, or they are behind Verge. So we'll show you that here in a second. I'll go over that. But they're tokenizing the project. But what they did is they took the project, and I'm kind of skipping around here, but they took the project and created these intellectual property equity units. So the best analogy that I think I gave on Wednesday was if, like, let's say we were going to buy a house and we were all going to split it. And let's say the house was a few $100,000 and you split it into 365 days. Each day would be worth $822. Technically, you could register each day as an individual, like an NFT, like I was showing an NFT. So it's not necessarily tokenizing the project, but you're using blockchain technology and you're using the NFTs as a way to create essentially fractional ownership. And that's essentially what I'm understanding they did here. VoiceLife has introduced the ability for an individual to purchase a fraction of our intellectual property and receive passive income through royalties for the duration of the patents. these IP fractions are called IP equity units. So an IP equity unit is a specialized digital asset that enables everyone to own a fraction of our IP and participate in a unique ecosystem centered around VoiceLife's patented self-generating energy system. The IP equity units provide a unique avenue for a broad range of investors to engage in the purchase, trade, and monetization of this asset class. This process introduces new layers of diversity and liquidity to the global market. Each IP equity unit certificate is securely recorded on a blockchain, offering an immutable verification of the IP equity unit holder's role within this ecosystem. Each holder is an integral part of technology ecosystem built around our patented self-generating energy solutions. The holders can anticipate benefits such as privileged access to product beta testing, revenue sharing, participation in community-driven initiatives, and potentially vote on the future direction of VoiceLife's technology applications. And then it breaks it down. VoiceLife has issued a total of 5,000 IP equity units on a blockchain, with no additional units planned in the same IP domain. So it doesn't mean that they won't have future opportunities available, but not for these specific patents. This ensures a capped supply and exclusive membership to our IP ecosystem. These units collectively signify a 15% stake in 6 granted U.S. patents, numerous international patents, and any future updates or extensions related to these patents. So remember, these are 20-year patents. So when we talk about the potential of receiving a 20-year residual income based off of royalties, it is because of the patents being registered for 20 years. So they could potentially be extended out beyond that. And then here's a breakdown of how they did this. So essentially what they are doing here is, instead of going to traditional angel investors or big money investors or banks for loans, or selling off a portion of the company, they've taken very intelligently, and I don't know really, as far as I know, and this is where it gets a little gray on the expectations of what to expect. What will these be worth? We don't really know what they'll be worth, so we are kind of taking a flyer out on this. But because it's really, as far as I know, the first time anybody's ever done anything like this. I've seen things similar where I talked about on Wednesday. I'm looking at a artificial intelligence platform that is going to be competing with ChatGTP, that has their niche etched out, which we'll get into on a separate call. But what they've done is they've taken 10,000 lines of the code that are part of the AI, and they've registered each line of code as its own NFT. So when you are investing in that company, you're essentially purchasing one line of code per NFT, which I think might be like $1,500 or $3,000 in that case. So you can see here, they started off by selling each equity unit, each NFT for $3,500, and then they now have increased it to $5,000. So $5,000 per NFT, 3,800 NFTs available. That's $19 million. 3,500 times 850. That would be another $3 million. So that's $22 million. And then 3,500 times 350. That's another 1.225. So what did I say? 22. So about $23 million that has been, that will be or has been raised towards the growth of this project. IP equity unit holders have fractional ownership in VoiceLife's IP and can benefit from the commercialization of our patents. Future patent ownership equity unit holders will also have fractional ownership in any U.S. and international patents related to the self-generating energy system, because patents can grow and expand. So it's I guess being a part of this, we're not just limited to what we see here, because these patents can grow. People can be added to the patents, and the patents can increase, just like you see here how it kind of went through Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. The same thing can happen with the patents. And by the way, this is what I was talking about with Gen 2, generation proof of concept prototype is a unique portable charging device. Or no, Gen 1 was a proof of concept prototype add-on accessory case for the iPhone smartphone. And then Gen 3 modification that replaces the current charging station battery. I think that one is the little cat that you see on the back on that picture we saw. It's very, I think, it is a little unclear as to what the potential of this 15% could represent. Obviously, it's a big round of fundraising, $23 million. But if you look at the scope of the project, I think in comparison to the scope of the project, $23 million might be a drop in the bucket when you consider how far-reaching this could potentially be and go. And when you look at the amount of cell phones, mobile phones, that are out on the market, and they're always wanting to increase or have the upper hand in regards to being able to one-up the competition. Imagine being able to market an iPhone that never dies, right? I mean, we've seen them and how big of a deal they make it when they talk about a battery that has extended life, or that you don't have to charge it, overnight or whatever. And you see commercials specifically about that topic. Well, what if the battery actually never died? I believe what we're seeing is that they are taking the and I think it's in here somewhere. I don't know if I missed this part. I thought I saw a breakdown. Oh, yeah, here it is. In order to achieve global coverage, VoiceLife utilizes NVDLA technology to include a global database of over 3,000 low Earth orbiting LEO satellites, over 93 million cell towers, and over 2.3 billion Wi-Fi hotspots. So they're essentially pulling this energy in to, from what I understand, they're creating their own blockchain. And I guess this is probably what, if we look at this here, which is the token. So these are the patents. This is the token, which is Verge. And then this is the black paper, it's called, on Verge. And so I started to kind of get through this also, because if you look at the potential tokens that you may be wanting to look at that are, these are altcoins, or coins that are outside of the traditional mainstream. These could be potentially coins that have tremendous upside now that we have a better understanding of the project that they're attached to. So as I dive deeper into Verge, I'll certainly revisit that. These are the two coins, XVG and XVG ETH. So these are their coins, and they're creating essentially their own blockchain. And what their main purpose, the main goal that I understand that they're creating, is they see the future of where things are going when it is in terms of artificial intelligence, And when you look at artificial intelligence and quantum computing, there's obviously a lot of positives, as we talked about on Wednesday, but there are also a lot of negatives in terms of the risks, like security risks. Forget about AI taking over the world and all of those potential security risks. But when we talk about just the security risks in cryptocurrency itself, I was watching a video the other day where they now are showing these hackers that have apps that they use on their phone using artificial intelligence. They're able to scan the dark web, and essentially there's sort of these, I guess, ways that these hackers can use AI to hack into people's wallets that aren't properly secured. So, in knowing that this is what is now going to come, which would be the dark side of AI and the negative use cases for artificial intelligence that have not yet, been fully exposed to the public, you're going to see now the need for higher levels of security when it comes to the encryption on these wallets, because some of these wallets, although they might be safe, can still be hacked using artificial intelligence. Now they're essentially going to be creating, or these guys are have created a way to protect wallets from artificial intelligence software so that they cannot be hacked. The blockchain, same thing. They are creating their own ecosystem, and it's all kind of wrapped together. And I don't really know how impressed, people get when you hear certain people talk. And I'm certainly far from the expert that wrote this stuff. And these guys are way over my pay grade as far as their intelligence level in terms of blockchain creation, AI, encryption, quantum computing, and tokenization, NFTs. All the stuff they're doing to me is just amazing. But I am so impressed with their level of sophistication and their ability to solve real world problems. And when you look at the future of this space, it's going to be based off of real world solutions. This group is creating real world solutions. So one of the focuses I've had recently, especially coming up with the halving event, which is within the next couple months. With the halving event, if you look back through history, it's every 4 years their Bitcoin splits, and it makes it harder for the miners to be able to produce the coins. And so it's about supply and demand. And if you look at the track record of the history of Bitcoin, every 4 years at the halving event, there is a spike in the value of Bitcoin. Now, this year, what makes that timing so interesting, I believe, and I sort of posted about this a little bit today, but when you look at the traditional stock market right now, and you think in terms of some of the bigger players that are in the stock market that are currently taking out big chunks of money and withdrawing from stable positions. And I don't necessarily believe that it's a reflection of how they feel about the investments themselves or the companies they're investing in, but more so is their belief in terms of the belief of where the market is actually heading. And if you listen to enough experts, so to speak, that know what they're talking about in terms of the market, we are due for a major market correction. And some are saying that it could be one of the biggest market corrections we've ever seen in our life, which means essentially in layman's terms, that we're looking at a stock market crash. And some feel that it's imminent. Some feel that it's going to happen in March. Some are saying March, April. But it does sort of make sense right now that it would be part of this overall narrative that has been building and building, and that we've reached our cap as far as the overall market. And so by some of these bigger players withdrawing their positions out of companies that they might even own or have partial ownership in, like I heard a rumor that Bezos sold a big position out of Amazon, or Bill Gates out of Microsoft. They might not be currently running Microsoft or Amazon, but they still have shares or ownership in there. But they're taking their shares and selling them off of even companies that they have a part of, maybe not being a reflection of how they feel about Amazon or Microsoft, but more so about how they feel about the overall market. When you combine these two narratives together, and actually there's a third, which is the political narrative. When you combine these three narratives together, I do tend to feel that this particular bull run of Bitcoin or crypto is, or could be, one of the biggest bull runs that we've seen in this space. And the reason why is because now you're starting to see these institutional big money players, BlackRock, Fidelity, all these big money players are now starting to come into the space and take big positions with Bitcoin and big positions with maybe some of the other altcoins. And they're now entering into that space and securing the position. And by doing that, you're now starting to see that it is now being adopted more by mainstream. We're seeing court cases now starting to turn our way, whereas before they were continually going after crypto. Now you're starting to see some of these cryptocurrency companies winning in court as compared to just losing in court. So you're seeing this mainstream adaptation. People are now starting to come in to crypto. It's become more of a mainstream conversation, more accepted. For the people that are in it, I think they understand the scope of just how big it is and how important blockchain technology is. But for the people that are outside of it, they don't understand it. Some people are still so skeptical. They say, oh, crypto, it's a scam, because they just don't understand it. But more and more people are now coming into the space. So now think about this as a narrative, and why I'm focusing in on certain altcoins and certain niche projects that maybe haven't even been released to the primary or secondary exchanges yet. If you look at the money that is going to be coming out of the stock market as these big whales start to liquidate their positions, they're taking their funds and they're moving it somewhere. So, like, as an example, if you look at yourselves, and maybe I know some of you have money in some of the private investments that we have shared, you're waiting for that money to come out. When you liquidate that money, what are you going to do with it? Now, I understand some people would say, well, I want to pay off some bills. I want to pay off my car. I want to catch up on some credit cards from Christmas or whatever. But then what are you going to do with it? From there, you want to take that money and you want to put it to work somewhere, either keeping it where it was or taking it from there and putting it somewhere else, so that you're now creating either cash flow or you're creating long-term potential wealth that could increase over the next 6 months, year, 2 years, or whatever. But you're investing it somewhere. Where are you going to put that money? What are you going to do with it? So if you think about these whales that are pulling out, I just posted about Bill Gates, and I don't keep up too much on Bill Gates, but if you just look at the video that I posted on social media today, or I think I posted it on the site and social media because it was just a regular YouTube video. He took most, not all, but a lot of his positions out, liquidated it, and only went into one position. which was a pharmaceutical company, which then, there's probably a whole different narrative and argument about why he did that. But he's going to be taking money from here and putting in there. Forget about Bill Gates. This isn't about him. This is about everybody else. As people follow people like Bill Gates or Bezos or other people, and they start to see big money coming out of these positions, they start to get nervous. The buzz is that we're at a point in that bubble where the bubble is about to break. They thought it was going to happen at the end of 2023. It didn't burst the way they thought that it would, so they kicked the can down the street a little bit, and now here we are where they feel as though that there's the potential for that bubble to burst again. When that either bubble bursts or the anticipation of that bubble bursts and people are taking money out of the stock market, where are they going to put that money? Gold, silver, and crypto. Those are my three places that I would say that everybody is looking at right now, which is why I've been so focused on gold, silver, and crypto. But when you think of crypto, most people think of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, even at $50,000, and right now it's testing 52,000. And it's either gonna bounce off 52 and drop back under 50, and then if it does, then you're gonna see it probably go all the way back down to, I would say, maybe like 30, 32,000. Maybe it could go down even further. If it doesn't bounce down and it breaks through that resistance, then I think the next stop is going to be 60, and then potentially 80. And then maybe even 100 before the Bitcoin halving. After that halving and spike, we could see Bitcoin going up to potentially $250,000, maybe. And then this isn't financial advice, and I'm certainly far from an expert when it comes to this material. I study it as much as I possibly can, but there's so many people that I respect that are on both sides of the fence. It's very hard to determine who's right and who's wrong. So you kind of got to look at both sides of the argument. But when I look at the side of the argument of long term, knowing where this is going to potentially go, if Bitcoin were to drop down to 30, I think that would be the last time. If it breaks through 52 and hits 60, I think that's the last time we'll ever see it above. The last time we'll ever see it above 50. No, or below 50. It will never go below 50 again. Well, that's a better way to say it. But what could it potentially go to? $250,000? 50 to $250,000 is a 5x growth. Whereas you can see that there are some tokens that could potentially have 100x, 150x, 200x growth potential, maybe 1,000x or more. I've seen some really crazy things, and I think that there's going to be an opportunity in the next couple months for people to position themselves with the right alternative coins to potentially have what I call hockey stick growth, where it just shoots up to the moon. Now, there are certain things that we want to look out for when we're finding these tokens. We want to know, do we have the liquidity or the escape plan to be even able to get out of them? And that happens a lot where people find these alternative coins that are on primary markets and not secondary markets like Coinbase or CoinZoom or markets like that, like Binance. But they're on the primary market, but they don't have enough liquidity. So when they go up, they still can't sell out of them because they're not able to, they don't have the buyers to be able to sustain it. Whereas if you knew for sure that a token was going to be launched on a secondary market or a secondary exchange like Coinbase, then that launch then becomes potentially your liquidity out. So if you own it before it actually hits that market, you're now able to sell out when it hits that secondary exchange, so that the average buyer who is seeing coins on, on Instagram or Twitter, and jump. And not that there's some really great opportunities there. So I'm not saying they're not great, but we want to be able to get into these coins before they actually get to that point, so that when they hit Twitter or when they hit Instagram, those buyers become our ability to opt out or cash out or liquidate our positions. So we might end up taking maybe a little bit smaller profits than we could have if we wait a little bit longer, but we're going to let them take that ride. We'll take the ride beforehand. So I'm not saying that I'm not vouching right now for XVG. This is one of the tokens that's on my radar now. I have a whole list of tokens on my radar. One of the things that I want to start focusing on in our group is I want to focus on this topic of conversation with either longs, shorts. I want to also talk about different coins that we can buy and hold through this Bitcoin halving bull run time, where, if we had the right 20 or 30 tokens in our tool belt, we could potentially see big, huge returns, bigger than we've ever had access to. So I know in the past we've done a lot of do get type of investments, and I know a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be showing everybody are not do get. There are going to be some, and when I say do get, I mean I put money in and I'm expecting to make 20% a month or 30% a month or 10% a month or 15% a month. That's do get. And those are great, and we want those for cash flow purposes, but we want to also diversify into some potential hockey stick type opportunities where we can see exponential growth in a very short period of time, which is why it's so important that we get access to some of our liquidity so that we can make some of these moves, spread some of this out, and have some diversity moving into this next bull run, which we're pretty much, I think, in right now. And because of the three, I think the perfect timing, if you ever watch that movie, The Perfect Storm, where those three things kind of converged at the same time, I think right now we have three major things happening all at the same time. You have a potential market collapse, people pulling money out of the stock market and now looking at cryptocurrency as a potential outlet, plus gold and silver as a potential outlet for them to move their money out of the traditional stock market and now into crypto. Crypto now going into the Bitcoin halving, and then what that means for the rest of the altcoins, which typically rise up as Bitcoin and Ethereum rise up. Usually, you see the altcoins rise up. If Bitcoin drops down, usually you see the altcoins drop down, and there's always outliers. It's not a rule, but you do kind of see either all red or all green mostly. And so there's a potentially huge opportunity right now going into this Bitcoin halving. We have people pulling money out of the stock market, potentially stock market crash, looking to divert that money into other things. We have sort of a mainstream acceptance of crypto that's all converging now at the same time. And you have the political component, which I've talked about in the past, but we are right now in 2024 in, I think, the most controversial political year of our lives, where we are now seeing a situation where there are people that will do anything to stop Trump from actually getting into office. And to them, it's life or death. And so they will go to any extent to stop him from getting into office and taking over again. And so the division that is coming through the political world, this year creates just more uncertainty and more chaos. Now, is the market collapse premeditated? And some people believe that it is, that essentially this is part of the plan and a way to usher in the Green New Deal, which is the central bank digital currency. They want to have the digital currency take over the US dollar. So the US dollar would be dead, and now there would be the central bank digital currency. So that, I call that kind of the political pillar. You have the traditional stock market pillar, and the fact that, which is a combination of what's happening with inflation, and I guess that would kind of be in the political side or the stock side. But you have this bubble that's about ready to burst in the traditional stock market, and then you have the emergence right now of artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency. And when you look at cryptocurrency and you look at artificial intelligence, to kind of tie this all together, one of the biggest problems that has emerged due to this is the consumption of power. That is the biggest issue that needs to be solved, because artificial intelligence draws much more power. Cryptocurrency also draws a lot of power. And so that is a big problem that needs to be solved. So when I started to dig into Voice Life and look at the potential solution that they have created, and it now ties also together with Verge and with their blockchain ecosystem. When I look at this whole thing, I can't help but be excited enough to say, let's come on and just talk about this, because I feel like that this could be one of the biggest potential home runs that's just kind of sitting right under our nose. And, some people know about it, some people don't. Some people know how to go about getting access to this, some people don't. So obviously that's, for a different conversation. If you're not aware of how to get access to getting involved with some of this, we can kind of talk about that offline. Or if somebody else shared the recording of this with you, you can talk to them about the, how they would go about getting access to some of these NFTs and why we're so excited about this. But it's potentially, I believe, with the 20-year patents, there could be the potential. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice, but I'm just saying, when I look at this and I look at the scope of this and how far-reaching this is, there could be the potential that this creates a long-term residual income for the next 20 years or beyond. All right, let's see. We want to buy Verge tokens. Well, let's see. Where's Verge listed? I haven't looked to see where Verge is listed yet. So I'll have to do a little bit of digging on XVG and see which exchange that might be listed. And have you done some due diligence to see where Verge is listed?
Yeah. Hey, Glenn, it's Mark.
Hey.
I'm actually on CoinMarketCap right now. Binance has it. There's like 8 pages of places. MEXC, BingX, Bitmart, Gate.io, Bitvavo, CoinDCX.
It's amazing how many exchanges there actually are out there, right?
Oh my God, I know. I've never heard of really most of these. And it's paired up with a bunch of, it's paired up with USDT. It's paired up with Ethereum. So that's why I wasn't sure. I didn't go to CoinZoom just to see if it would, if they would have a pair with USDT or not. I wasn't sure if where it wasn't listed here, I figured that was a no, but I didn't actually check.
coins that we
I did check XT. Nothing is paired up in XT. I couldn't find a way through XT to buy it.
Okay, not on XT. I'm just looking up on CoinMarketCap here. Verge, ETH.
And another question I had is where they have the Ethereum token and like their original token. Do you see a difference in which one you would purchase there?
Yeah, so I just started as I really began to dig into Voice Life. I wasn't being transparent. I wasn't really Verge wasn't on my radar. XVG wasn't really on my radar until I realized that it had ties to this platform. Now, IOTA, I think it's the abbreviation, that has been on my radar. That's the Internet of all things. Or is it IOTA, IOATA, maybe, or IOAT, I think it is. That's one of the coins that's on my radar. I've been working on and collecting a list, and let's see. This is 1 day. Let's look at 1 year. Let's see where this was. So this already went through a nice run here. See, this is where we really want to get access to this. Right down here, 0.001536. And you can see here, look at that jump from here to here. So if I were betting, I would say that would be probably when it launched on some of the exchanges that you just mentioned. And then you see it drop down, and now it's sort of building out a new level. Yeah, this is actually looks pretty good. I like this. I mean, typically I would kind of want to see it here before this happens, but because that's what I was talking about earlier, is if you can ride that wave, then use this as your liquidity to get out. But this just shows that it does have a solid track record. So I have it written down. I like where it's priced.
Yeah, it's got a good price.
Yeah.
And it's up 23% for the month. And it does good volume. When you look at the volume that's traded on it, it looks pretty solid. And I've been following this since it had another zero. I was watching it at 000, I think 5 or 6, something like that. So this sucker's been moving.
Yeah. Well, did you get any then?
No. That was early.
You're just going to observe it.
Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, even if you take $100 divided by 0.003927, what is that? 25,464, and that's $100, right? Like, I remember having a conversation with somebody who's just one of the top crypto success stories that I've ever met. And I asked him if he had to learn, like start all over again and do it all over again, what would he do different? And he said, the only thing I'd really do different is I would do, a lot of research to try to narrow down to what I would consider, let's say, the top 100 altcoins. And I would just take $1,000 and I would spread it across each of those altcoins and just hold. Because if you're in the right ones and the real projects, you might have these ups and downs and these swings and all that stuff. He's like, but long term, if you're in out of 100 projects, there's no way that you won't, and if you do your due diligence, there's no way 20% of them won't go hockey stick, right? And I don't know that this is one of them. I mean, I would say, based off of the what I've been learning about this project and how far-reaching this project could potentially be, that this is definitely something that I'm now going to keep my eye on. I'm going to go deeper into the white paper or the black paper and read up on it and do a little bit more research to see if what my thoughts are. But this might be one of those little hidden gems that goes to, I mean, these things don't need to go crazy in order for us to see, a massive win. I mean, just in that case, like I said, if you take, let's just say $1,000 and purchase 0.003925, that gives you 254,254,777, right? So $1,000 divided by 0.003924, right? 254 million. So 254,777, and if this thing goes to, let's say, 15 cents times 0.15, that's 38,216, right? So that's a 38x. I don't know. Maybe it can do more than that. I don't know. I mean, all I know is that if you look, and I mean, Bitcoin's history isn't that long. So when some of these experts say that for sure 100% that this Bitcoin halving is going to be the biggest bull run we've ever seen, based off of what's happened each of these Bitcoin halvings, I think that it's not necessarily fair to assess it that way, because I don't think the history is rich enough to be able to justify coming up with that theory. But in saying that, I think there's more to the story, like I talked about with big money coming out of the stock market. Where's it going to go? Gold, silver, crypto, right? That's where it's going to go. Maybe that's Bitcoin, maybe that's alternative coins, but that's where most of that money is going to go. So if you have all this new money coming into crypto, now the people that have been in crypto, the smart ones that were positioned correctly, we could potentially see one of the biggest transfers of wealth in our lifetime. And I think when I look at the categories right now that I think are probably the hottest category in crypto, would probably be AI or AI related type projects, which I believe Verge would be considered an AI type project. But I'll read more up about Verge. But AI projects, gaming, metaverse stuff, that whole with the what do you call it, the Apple Vision Pro now coming out, and you're going to see so many things, different apps and different programs that are going to emerge based off of that Apple Vision Pro. I mean, think about Apple Vision Pro in just the phones. I mean, when Apple came out with their phone, like, Apple doesn't make mistakes. They came out with the phone. iPhone's the biggest thing on the planet. Now you have the iPad, the MacBook Pro, like, they do everything to such a high level. So for them to come out with a pair of goggles, of course, you're going to see that, an extreme change. Just go watch Ready Player One, and you can see what the potential future of those goggles could look like. Not that I say that I'm a fan of all that, but I'm certainly curious. I've never worn goggles, so I have no idea. But the metaverse, gaming, that's huge right now in crypto. AI is huge in crypto. So there's a couple of categories that I think are potentially could, just knock it right out of the park. So I'm keeping my eye on XVG now. And I think one of the things I was thinking about like yesterday and today is I might almost have to start doing a call every day because I have so much happening right now that there's no way to keep up with everything that's happening right now. And the only way I can kind of think to keep up with everything is to just do a call every day for the people that can get on live. We can have a conversation. For everybody else, they can go in and watch the recordings. But I just have too much happening right now across the board, and to have all these individual conversations is so tough because the information needs to come out, and it needs to come out quickly. But I have right now a few different I think platforms that are super exciting that you guys are going to love. I also think that this is an area that we need to be focused on in diversifying into some specific projects and tokens so that we're prepared for what's going to happen over the next 2 months. Because if people play their cards right, you can turn a little bit into a lot, I think, over the next couple months. So I'll definitely keep my eyes on XVG, though.
Glenn, of those exchanges you see listed there, is there one you would say is a little more U.S. friendly? Would that be like Binance? Oh, I didn't see Coinbase. I think we have a Coinbase. We do have a Coinbase account.
Yeah, I mean, but this doesn't mean, no. Don't go by that. XVG. That doesn't mean XVG is on Coinbase. I just clicked on exchanges and let's see.
I couldn't find it on Binance either.
On Binance?
Yeah, I couldn't find it on there either.
Well, Glenn, when you find it, let us know.
Yeah, I'll have to take a better look at what exchanges. Let's see, markets. No, I'm on StockNet. How did I get on StockNet? When did that happen? Yeah, anyway, I'll take a look at what XVG. I think when I have all these windows open, it makes everything just run like super, super slow. Which Binance do you have? Do you have Binance US or Binance, the original Binance?
US.
Yeah, I know Binance US is limited. For sure.
I didn't have none of the others you mentioned, so that's why I was looking.
Yeah, so this would say Binance US, I believe. See how it says Binance TR, Gate.io.
Well, when you find it, you can let us know if you would, please.
Okay, might want to look at Gate.io. I think that one might be okay. Let me just see if there's anything else. Hit PTC. And some of these I've never even heard of. Yeah, I don't know. We're way off the reservation here. All right, I'll look into it though. Obviously, it looks like it's on Binance, the original Binance, which Bitmart. I didn't see that. Yeah, Bitmart's probably that would be one you could jump into is Bitmart. That would out of these ones, this is the one. I'll check these and see if I have accounts. I know I have an account with Bitmart. I might have one with Gate.io, so I'll check this Bitmart and Gate.io. Anyway, all right. So I want to keep these relatively tight. We don't need to go for a couple hours on these deals. But I just kind of wanted to go over some of that and just talk about this project with you guys. And again, I wanted to capture it on record so that everybody would have an opportunity to go back and take a look at it as we get I'll do a little bit more research. If there's enough to warrant coming back and speaking about it more, we'll certainly do that. But if not, I'll just post it on the site.